Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be ranking all 32 starting quarterbacks and some backups after 5 weeks. It's been a crazy 5 weeks. We've had some elite quarterbacks playing mid or even worse, and we've had some quarterbacks we didn't even know would start this year that are balling out and playing the best ball we've ever seen from them. So this is going to be a crazy list, and there are definitely going to be some controversial takes in here. Here's the tier list. Up here we have QB1. In my opinion, there's three names that could potentially be the QB1. Anyone else is pretty much inarguable, but I could see a case for three guys up here. Then we have the top five, top 10, decent, mid, straight booty, backups, and then rookies that haven't even played yet. So starting off, Marcus Mariota, backup. And I think it's a disgrace that he has taken the zero privileges from the Washington Commanders. I think zero is such a tough number, and to use it on a backup quarterback is such a waste. Then we have Justin Herbert. He has honestly not been great. I'm going to throw Herbert on mid. I'm aware that he has pretty much no help, but he does have a new rookie receiver, and they helped his O-line out a little bit this year with Joe Alt. Obviously, he lost Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and even Eckler. So we weren't expecting, at least I wasn't expecting much out of this Chargers offense. He's done okay, though. Right around mid to decent. I'm going to put him in mid just because of how well some other quarterbacks have been doing. Jordan Love has been decent. He's missed a few games, but in the games that he hasn't missed, at least these last 2 weeks, week 4 and 5, he's had an interception problem. He threw, I believe, three against the Vikings, and he threw another one or two against the Rams this week. He's got to clean that up to be top 10 in my opinion. Drake May, I wish we had seen more of. We saw him get sacked a couple times in the end of the Jets game, but that was about it. Bo Nix has honestly, he hasn't been horrible. He had a very, very bad, like historically bad first half against the Jets. What was it, last week? Week 4. But other than that, he has not been bad. The Broncos are 3-2. I could definitely see them having less wins with many other quarterbacks. I think Bo Nix has really stepped up, and you can see his progression through these first 5 weeks. Not only throwing, but with his legs. He honestly has not been bad at all. Jimmy G, backup. Here's where it's interesting because we also have Will Levis. I really don't know which one of these guys is the backup anymore. Um, Mason Rudolph came in against the what was it, Dolphins week 4. Pretty sure the Titans were on a bye week, week 5. But Mason Rudolph came in and wasn't horrible. He wasn't good, but then again, neither is Levis. So we don't know which one of them is going to start. So I honestly, just for the sake of that, I'm going to put Mason Rudolph in backup. It's safe to assume that the clip farmer himself, Will Levis, is the starting quarterback. But if that's the case, he is genuinely a bottom three, if not the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now. He's been horrible. I put the Titans at the bottom of the barrel in my wins predictions video. I got so much hate for that. But the Titans have looked absolutely god awful behind Will Levis, so I'm not ashamed at all. Mitch Trubisky, GOAT backup. Aiden O'Connell. This is also interesting because Gardner Minshew actually got benched this week. So we've only seen like half of a game out of Aiden O'Connell, but he may be the starter now. It's almost the exact same thing with Mason Rudolph, except it was a little more willingly with O'Connell. Like they willingly benched Minshew. Levis was more of a like injury thing that they then didn't want to make worse. So I think they just kept him out the rest of the game. But O'Connell was willingly put in. So moving forward, I don't know who the starting quarterback will be. Gardner Minshew beat the Ravens, but now he's developing an interception problem. Aiden O'Connell came in and threw one to the defense too. So neither of them are great. Honestly, if I could, Minshew would be mid, and then O'Connell would be booty, I guess. But again, for the sake of the fact that we've seen half of a game out of him, I'm gonna put him a backup. I'm assuming though Aiden O'Connell is the starter from here on out. Gardner Minshew's been pretty mid, but he has had some highlights. Like I said, that game against the Ravens was insane, truly. Brock Purdy. Now Brock Purdy is a wild card. A lot of people thought that Brock Purdy wouldn't do good at all without CMC. Trent Williams has missed some time. Ayuk hasn't really stepped up much. It's been the Juwan Jennings show in San Fran, and I'm all for it. Juwan Jennings balling out was not on my 2024-2025 season bingo card, but it's been entertaining and honestly awesome because as a Seahawks fan, I'm a big Ayuk and Debo hater. So to see Juwan Jennings rise up like this is absolutely peak entertainment. But Brock Purdy, he's top 10. Whether he's top 5 or not is the question. Personally, I don't think he is. NFL also doesn't think he is. They have him right at the bottom of the barrel of 10, sitting at 9. And I think that's fair, honestly. He's 4th in passing yards right now. But if you look at his attempts, he's not doing bad. Like 8.8 per attempt. That, like, the fact that he's 4th in yards, if he was throwing the ball as much as Geno, Dak, Stroud, he could definitely be first. But yards is not the only stat. 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions isn't great. It's not the Brock Purdy we're used to seeing. He's usually much safer with the ball. So the fact that interceptions is weighing him down is very unique to Brock Purdy. It's usually the complete opposite. He hasn't been himself. The Niners have not looked like themselves either. The Seahawks just lost to the Giants and are still number 1 in the division. The Niners do not look like the powerhouses that they normally are with CMC. And it's hurting Brock Purdy a little bit. Sam Darnold, top 5. The Sam Darnold run has been monumental. Again, was not on my bingo card that the Minnesota Vikings would be 5-0 behind Sam Darnold. Not at all. I didn't think this team would be bad. I'm pretty sure I had them in like the 7 to 9-ish wins, or like 6 to 9, something like that. I didn't think they'd be bad. I thought they'd be okay. They have been much more than okay. They've honestly been a top 2, if not top 1 team in the NFL so far this year. And a lot of that goes to Sam Darnold. I think if J.J. McCarthy wasn't hurt, if J.J. McCarthy was their starting quarterback, they would not be 5-0. Sam Darnold is a huge part of this. Their defense has been insane, don't get me wrong. But defense cannot single-handedly win you a game. Look at the Jets. Look at the Broncos. Both teams are decent. Neither team is 5-0. Sam Darnold is a huge part of this team. I think he's top 5. DeVito, backup quarterback. Joe Flacco has been the start of the last 2 weeks because Anthony Richardson, yet again, injured. So, with that being said, Joe Flacco's not bad. It's disgraceful to put anyone with Will Levis at this point. So, Levis might be the only quarterback in booty. I don't know. But Flacco's at least mid, if not decent. I compare him to Herbert, and that seems more fair than comparing him to Minshew. Like, Minshew's probably bottom of the barrel of this mid category. But Flacco has not been bad. He put up a great game against the Jaguars. I don't think that game is necessarily a great case for him, though, because so far everyone else has beat the Jaguars. But stats-wise, he still did good. He looks decent on paper. It's just, does he really have that it factor to be the reason a team wins a game? I don't know. I think he's just a, God help us, we need someone to throw the ball kind of quarterback. And he does it okay enough to be a very good backup quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, don't burn me at the stake for this one, but he's decent. I know, career-wise, he's obviously QB1 as of right now, but this year he's looked bad. The Saints game just finished. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he threw a pick in the red zone. That's not top 5. That's not top 10. I'm sorry, but Mahomes has not looked like the guy this year. Great, I mean, he's not getting threatened. He's not threatened of being benched. That's not what I mean of he's not the guy. He's the guy for the Chiefs, but he's not the guy in the NFL. I see the Chiefs and I'm like, man, that defense is scary. This year, though, I'm not saying Mahomes is scary. Like I said, it's their defense more than it is Mahomes. It's their refs more than it is Mahomes. He has not been the reason the Chiefs are winning these games. And for that reason, I don't think Mahomes has been playing top 10. And before you come at me for that, this is insane though. NFL has Mahomes at 3. Talk about ignoring the stats. I'm not going off of name value for this. Purely the best quarterbacks this year. Through 5 games, Mahomes is not one of them. Look at these stats. Mahomes, yes, he is top 10 in yards. I'll give him that. 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions is brutal. He has not, that's not top 10. argue with a wall. That's not top 10. I'm sorry, but Mahomes is just decent. Jared Goff is top 10. He's definitely higher than Purdy. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to sort them like that. I do think Mahomes is better than Bo Nix, but Jordan Love has played better than Mahomes this year. Trevor Lawrence, he would be in booty if it weren't for this week. The Jaguars were able to knock off Joe Flacco this week, but he is bottom of the barrel mid. Man, the Jaguars have looked bad. They got decimated by the Bills in one of the ugliest blowouts in recent memory, and they barely beat the Joe Flacco-led Colts. Trevor Lawrence is almost booty. I'm gonna put him in mid. Josh Allen. He's one of the three guys I could see being QB1. His stats have looked incredible. Where does NFL have him? NFL has him at 2. Stats-wise, Josh Allen is not great in yards at all. Obviously, he has rushing upside. He's well over 1,000 net scrimmage yards. His yards haven't been great, but he's really improved on his turnover ratio. We just talked about how Brock Purdy has really been struggling with turnovers this year, and that's not like him. Josh Allen is, if you look at the stats throughout his whole career, he's really not that bad in terms of turnovers, but that's the rep he gets. The media, TikTok, everyone says that Josh Allen's a turnover machine because they see him chucking up 50-yard punts to the defense. But this year, we have seen a completely different Josh Allen. He's been so conservative and smart with the ball. He has 8 touchdowns on only 900 yards, which is not bad at all, and 0 interceptions. And if you pull up his rushing stats, he has 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and again, the key number is fumbles. None. Josh Allen has 10 total touchdowns and no turnovers. He does not have a ton of yards. He has barely 1,100 from scrimmage, but he's been very efficient. And to deny that is to be an idiot. To say he's not top 5, you're just dumb. I'm sorry. So for that reason, Josh Allen is ahead of Darnold. Yes, he is top 5. I don't have him at QB1 though. I could easily see a case for him. 10 touchdowns to no turnovers is an insane number. And as a proud Josh Allen supporter, I'm all for it. I love Josh Allen. I draft him all the time, and at least, like, I usually have 3 to 4 fantasy leagues a year. He's in at least 2 of them. I love Josh Allen. I think he's a great quarterback, and to see him balling out like this, it does put a smile on my face. Kirk Cousins is top 10, easily, especially in October. Oh my gosh, in October, Kirk Cousins is 1. Argue with a wall, Kirk Cousins is the best October quarterback. Right now, he's top 10. The question is, again, is he top 5? I don't know. He's easily better than Purdy. Him and Goff are very close. I don't know. If he was playing like he had been against the Bucks, if he'd been playing like that all year, he'd be top 5 easily. He'd be top 1 if he could play like that all year. He just threw 500 damn yards. Top 10 easily, with top 1 upside, as we've seen. Is he top 5? I'm not sure. I might have to come back to that later. I'm going to say Kirk, because Goff has been throwing a few more interceptions than normal. I remember, what was it, a year or 2 ago, Goff had like an incredibly long streak of not throwing an interception. And this year, we have not seen that out of Jared Goff. How many interceptions does he have through 5 weeks? I mean, he hasn't been horrible. It's just not as good as he normally is. Goff has 5 touchdowns on 4 interceptions. It's not great. Honestly, a lot of quarterbacks have had pretty bad touchdown to interceptions ratios. I'm not going to lie. Trevor Lawrence, 6-2, but how many of those touchdowns were against the Colts this week? So don't be fooled by those stats, please. But I don't know. I don't think Goff has been better than Kirk through 5 weeks. And I'm cementing that as my take. Caleb Williams, through the first 2 weeks, was pretty bad. But now, Caleb's climbing. Through 5 weeks, Caleb Williams has been playing right up there with Mahomes and Jordan Love. He's cementing himself as a big-name quarterback. He's not cementing himself as one of the best quarterbacks, obviously, because I'm putting him in decent, right, with Mahomes and Love. But him and Bo Nix have proven to be starting quarterbacks on their team with no question. I don't fear Bo Nix getting benched. I don't fear Caleb Williams getting benched at all. Caleb Williams was obviously expected a lot of. Everyone expected Caleb Williams to come in and start off, 3-1, 4-1, something like that. But that's not what you're gonna get. He struggled in the beginning. The Titans win was disgusting. He did nothing. Caleb Williams did nothing in week 1. Week 2 was not great for Caleb. Weeks 3, 4, 5, he's turned it up, and he's really giving Bears fans something to believe in. Desmond Ridder, backup. Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to lie. I have not seen a ton of Hurts this year, so I'm pulling up the stats. 4-4 on touchdowns to interceptions. Granted, he has been missing A.J. Brown for some time, and I'm sure that's hurting his production. Because him and A.J. Brown, their connection is incredible. A.J. Brown has top 1 fantasy receiver upside week to week pretty much. Him and Hurts are automatic together. So without A.J. Brown, Hurts obviously isn't playing the same. He's 4-4. He has not hit 1,000 yards yet. I don't think Jalen Hurts has been playing great. I may be wrong on that. Again, the only Eagles game that I've physically watched was their primetime game, week 1 against the Packers, which he looked pretty bad in. Saquon Barkley completely won them that game. And then their game against the Falcons, in which they choked. He has 2 rushing attempts of 20-plus yards, and then he has 2 touchdowns. Fumbles, he also has 2. So it's really not helping his case a whole lot. I'm gonna put him right above Flacco in mid. The stats don't lie. Hurts is shaken up without A.J. Brown. I think that is quite apparent. And even with A.J. Brown, like I said, week 1, he didn't look great. It was pretty ugly. Kyler Murray's top 10. Oh my gosh, seeing that 50-yard touchdown, he took off. He is, seeing Joe Flacco, I don't know if you guys saw the Colts-Jaguars game. Seeing Flacco run for 20 yards, I'm pretty sure that took longer than Kyler Murray's 50-yard touchdown. Kyler Murray is fast, and I think a lot of people forgot just how scary Kyler Murray is with the amount of time that he missed last year. The rep he gets for the Call of Duty stuff, it hurts him a lot, and people just automatically assume Kyler Murray's ass. He's not. The Cardinals' offense has looked scary this year. A lot of that is Trey McBride. A lot of that is Marvin Harrison Jr. A lot of that is James Conner. But just as much of that, if not more, is Kyler Murray. And to say that he's not top 10, I think is a very bad take. Tua is borderline top 10 when he's playing. But when he's concussed, obviously, that's pretty bad. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Because Tua is out and they don't have a Huntley jersey, I'm going to rank Huntley here. With that being said, booty. Moving on. Russell Wilson is probably the best backup in the NFL. With that being said, he's a backup. Fields took the starting job. Him missing those first couple weeks, I don't know if he's still injured, technically. I haven't heard anything about his injury status since week 3, but Fields won the starting job. For them to bench a 4-1 quarterback would be insane, and the amount of backlash they would receive if Russ just lost 1 game, I mean, you'd hear start Fields all around the world. It'd be insane. So I think Fields has definitely won the starting job, and he's looked great doing it. Like I said, they're 4-1. Nobody saw that coming out of Justin Fields. Nobody. If you say that you did, you're lying. Fields has looked great. It genuinely might have been a system problem in Chicago. Granted, he has not looked top 5 level. He hasn't had the volume, but he's looking a lot more veteran-like than he did in Chicago. The rookie mistakes that we saw out of him, we have not seen as much. And the fact that he has the great defense he's playing with is really helping his case. He's not playing from behind a lot. I don't think he's been feeling a whole lot of pressure, which obviously is going to help a quarterback. And it really is. I think Justin Fields has been playing top 10. I don't think he's been playing better than Kyler Murray, who, has been playing better than Purdy. I don't know if he's been playing better than Purdy necessarily, but he's getting wins. And as much as you want to say wins aren't a quarterback stat, wins always come up when we're debating quarterbacks. Derek Carr was QB1 week 1. Week 2, Derek Carr was QB1. Weeks 3, 4, 5, I don't know. I don't think he's outside of the top 10. I will say that. So I can only have 5 on this column. One of these guys is either top 5 or decent. Derek Carr has been playing better than Fields. Derek Carr has been playing better than Purdy. Derek Carr has been playing better than Kyler Murray. I'm gonna slide Kirk up to top 5 because I think post this video he's only gonna get better again. Kirk Cousins is a different type of monster in October. It's called Kirktober for a reason. I'll keep Derek Carr and Jared Goff in the top 10. Dak Prescott. He's so hit or miss. 2 years ago, everyone was laughing at him for his interception problem. Last year, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They did just beat Fields. And that is, so far, that to me is their best. This is the best they've looked, is this past week. But again, we're grading off of 5 weeks here. And Dak, honestly, I don't know if they'll keep turning up. They might have just had a good week. So if we look at touchdowns and interceptions, what was it, 8 to, what's Dak have? 8-4? Yeah, okay, 8-4, which is not bad. That's definitely better than a lot of quarterbacks on this list. Dakota Prescott has next to no rushing yards with 24, so he has almost no rushing upside. He has 1 rushing touchdown and no rushing fumbles on that. The stat that I've been looking at for fumbles has not been in the pocket fumbles. They're rushing fumbles. So if they're in the pocket, I haven't really been taking that into account because that could be credited to them having a bad O-line, and I'm trying to make this just as much about the quarterback as I can. I'm trying to take out some of that team bias. So in total, he has a 9-4 ratio. It's just the losses have been brutal. I think Dak is one of the better not top 10 quarterbacks. I'm saying this solely for the fact that because a lot of his volume is coming from behind. Look at the Ravens game. They were down huge, and he farmed the hell out of that defense for a whole bunch more yards and a bunch more touchdowns. They still lost. I don't think his 9-4 ratio is really as good as it looks. I don't think his second in the league in yards really is as good as it looks. I think a lot of that can be, well, he's playing from behind. He's going to get more yards. Deshaun Watson is dog shit. Oh my gosh. Deshaun Watson is a whole other level of bad. The Browns genuinely made a $200 million mistake. In my opinion, they should bench him. Especially with the, not just how bad he is playing. He's done some pretty disgusting things. Don't get me wrong. But another disgusting one was this week, head coach Kevin Stefanski, he wanted to go for it on 4th. Deshaun Watson walked off the field. I'm not letting that slide. No chance in hell am I letting my quarterback just walk off the field like that. You're being benched, and Jameis Winston's coming into play. Whether they do that or not, I don't know, but they should. Deshaun Watson has not looked good whatsoever. He is genuinely a bottom 3, bottom 5 quarterback in the league. I'm not sorting this row by, order of skill to backups. I don't really care that much. Bailey Zappi. So here's the thing. I'm not seeing a Jacoby Brissett on here. So we're going to rank Bailey Zappi as Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett has been dog water. What's the highest yards he's thrown for so far this year? Okay, stats. He threw for 168 against the 49ers. Wow, that's not a lot. He's thrown 2 touchdowns in 5 games. He's not turning the ball over much. He's only thrown 1 pick, which is better than a lot of quarterbacks. But wow, he averages, what is that, 0.4 touchdowns per game? Not even. Or something like that. That's bad. That is bad. How Drake May has not seen the field more, I don't know. I'm genuinely appalled at the fact that they are consistently starting this guy knowing he has less than a 50% chance to score a touchdown and a 0% chance to break 200 yards. He hasn't even hit 170 in 5 games. Jaden Daniels is a top 10 quarterback, and it's a shame that one of these guys is about to get bumped out because Jaden Daniels has been playing at an elite level. And without name value, Jaden Daniels so far is the rookie of the year. A lot of people are still going to argue Caleb just because he was the number 1 overall pick and, Caleb Williams this, Caleb Williams that. He's been playing decent. Jaden Daniels has been playing good. Watching the Washington Commanders offense is beautiful. And that is not a statement I thought I'd say this year. It's been remarkable what Jaden Daniels has done to this offense. No glaze or anything. He is genuinely a top 10 quarterback. With that being said, I think Fields is going to be the guy that we're going to have to bump out because if we compare them head to head, I'm going to have to bring in the team value on this one. Fields' defense is so much better than the Washington Commanders' defense. If you put Daniels on the Steelers, I don't know if they'd have a loss right now. Genuinely. I mean that from the bottom of my soul. I don't think that Jaden Daniels on the Steelers would have lost to the Cowboys. If we pull up the stats, Daniels has 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, which isn't remarkable at all. He has 1,100 yards, which is pretty good. And let's go to the rushing. Jaden Daniels, 300 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. It's insane what this guy has been doing on the ground. In total, Jaden Daniels has 1,400 scrimmage yards. I mean, him and Purdy are neck and neck. Some weeks, he is incredibly efficient with not a whole lot of big plays. Like, what was it, the week against the Bengals? His QBR and completion percentage were insane. I'm pretty sure through the first 3 or 4 weeks, didn't he have the highest completion percentage of any quarterback ever? Like, the efficiency was there. The big plays weren't as much, but then this past week we just saw him throw a 60-yard bomb to Terry McLaurin. So this guy's versatile, and I'm honestly really excited to see where this Washington team goes. Anthony Richardson, I'm going to put in booty. And it's not because I think his talent is booty. This guy cannot stay healthy. If you were to reset the league right now, and you could draft any quarterback, drafting Anthony Richardson would be a mistake. Not because he's bad, but because he can't stay healthy. When are we going to see a full season out of this guy? Next season? The season after that? Season after that? I mean, we missed him for nearly the whole damn season last year. And here we are 5 weeks in, he's already missed 2 games. I can't put him up here with any of these guys if he's not going to play. Jameis Winston should be right here with Deshaun Watson. Jameis Winston should be playing. The fact that he's not, I'm going to have to put him in backup. But I don't think Deshaun Watson should be the starting quarterback. Baker Mayfield, this is a struggle. Man, there are so many good quarterbacks. I don't know who's not top 10. I'm really struggling here. Man, I just argued Jaden Daniels a whole hell of a lot, and I might have to bump him out. No, the more that I think about it, I can't. The more I think about it, like, Purdy is, at this point, I feel like he's riding off of name value. Goff might be 2, honestly. I'm going to bump Carr up 1. Bump Goff down 1. Baker Mayfield is top 10. And I'm sure all these Deshaun Watson viewers are not thrilled with how well Baker Mayfield's doing on the Buccaneers. I'm sure some of them are a little reminiscent towards it and like, oh, you know, our Baker. But I'm sure they miss the crap out of him. And they wish he was doing this good on the Browns. Because the Bucs are so scary when Baker Mayfield's throwing the ball. Kenny Pickett, backup. Let me get the rest of the backups out of here. We got J.J. McCarthy, rookie unproven. Bryce Young, a booty backup, technically. Actually, no. I don't see Andy Dalton on here, so we're going to have to rank Andy Dalton somehow. Bryce Young is Andy Dalton. We're skipping around a bit. So I'm putting Bryce Young up here. Think of it as Andy Dalton. I think the reason that he did good when he stepped in initially was because the Raiders didn't have tape on him. And we saw that a lot these last couple years with backup quarterbacks coming in and lighting it up. Jake Browning, Joshua Dobbs, Aiden O'Connell last year, like just to name a few. Backup quarterbacks do good their first game or 2. Maybe not Jacoby Brissett. And with that being said, he can't ride on that the whole season. And obviously he couldn't this week as they just got pummeled by the Bears. Geno Smith. Who do I put outside of the top 10 here? This is so incredibly difficult. What does NFL say? Geno Smith is top 10. Man, I wish I could confidently say the same thing. We're going to have to pull up the stats on this one. His touchdown to interception ratio isn't great. He's number 1 in yards, though, and we can't just ignore that. He is number 1 in attempts as well. We also can't ignore that, but he's lighting it up. He's on pace for one of the best years in his career. And I feel like people forget about this, but Geno Smith is not immobile. He has 146 yards on the ground. This guy has 1,600 scrimmage yards. He had a, 20, 30, 40-yard rushing touchdown week 1 against the Broncos. One of these guys have to go. I feel like I'm riding too much on Goff's previous seasons. Kyler Murray has been electric. Jaden Daniels has been electric. Goff and Baker are on the border. So when we throw Geno up here, one of these guys has to go. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield. I cannot let previous years dictate my ranking on Jared Goff. So everything I said earlier about him and Kirk being on the same level, I apologize. I take it back. I'm sliding Goff down the mountain. Where is he in comparison to Purdy and Fields? Okay. I'm gonna leave it like this. Every time I saw Goff up there, it bothered me, but I didn't want to take him down just because I didn't want to retract what I said earlier. But I'm owning up to it. I hyped up Goff a bit much. We're gonna pull him back down. We're gonna put him right ahead of Jordan Love, and behind Dak. Damn it, CJ Stroud. I don't want to keep having to bump one of these guys down. This is getting really difficult. So here, we have Lamar and Joe Burrow. These three guys are the ones that I could see for QB1. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Josh Allen has looked incredibly efficient with the ball. No turnovers, 10 total touchdowns. Insane. Lamar Jackson has looked incredibly efficient with the ball. Joe Burrow has looked incredibly efficient with the ball. Joe Burrow, number 1 in touchdowns right now. He just threw 5 against Lamar. 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now we're going to have to start getting to rushing yards because that's where Lamar is going to bump back up. Burrow has 100 and something more passing yards. He has 3 more touchdowns, 1 more pick. Not only is Lamar number 1 in quarterback rushing yards by a mile, he's, top 7 in genuine rushing yards. Lamar Jackson is a weapon. He has 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 rushing fumbles. But I'm not going to let those fumbles hurt him as much as I would another quarterback because he runs so much more than a lot of other quarterbacks do. So which one of these guys is the best in the league right now? Lamar Jackson has beat both of them. So with that being said, I am going to put Lamar at number 1. I do think all 3 of these guys are playing out of their minds. I think all 3 of these guys have a case for number 1. But look at Lamar against Allen. Look at Lamar against Burrow. He's 1-0 this year against both of them. Both of them are 0-1 against him. So I'm going to let that be the final say of putting Lamar Jackson at number 1. Now back down here, this top 10 row is really throwing me off. Matthew Stafford has not been playing top 10 without Puka and Cooper Kupp, clearly. I don't think many people would expect him to either. I'm going to put him bottom of the barrel of decent, I think. Honestly, I think without Puka and Cooper Kupp, Stafford's pretty mid. Let me double check to make sure the stats verify that. He's getting so many yards from playing from behind, but he has lost some crucial games. They lost to the Cardinals, they lost to the Packers this week, but again, this team's banged up. I don't think anybody would expect Stafford to play top 10 without his stud receivers in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. So he's top 10 in yards, but 3-to-3 touchdown interception ratio is not looking good through 5 weeks. So I'm going to put him right here with Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. Danny Dimes is coming off of the best game of the season for him. His best game of the season, against the Seahawks. My Seahawks, sadly. He'd be booty if he played bad this week, but he didn't. He's definitely better than Andy Dalton. Better than Trevor Lawrence? I'd give it to him, honestly. He does have more rushing upside than Lawrence. It's right around here that I'm not sure. Joe Flacco, Gardner Minshew, I think he fits in right around here. I'm going to just move on from that. I like Jones right at the middle of mid. Aaron Rodgers has not been playing top 10. Him and Garrett Wilson have not been connecting much. They are coming off of their best game. However, Garrett Wilson finally eclipsed 100 yards in a lot of junkyard time against the Vikings. He's had some ugly balls this year. I'm putting him above his protege, Jordan Love. I'm going to put him right here, behind Dak, ahead of Jared Goff. The final quarterback to be ranked on this list, CJ Stroud. Undoubtedly top 10 last year. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Which one of these guys, if any, is CJ Stroud better than? That's the question. CJ Stroud is currently 3rd in yards with 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Baker Mayfield, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Geno Smith, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, number 1 in yards. I know they're very basic stats to look at, but they tell a lot. How much do you turn the ball over? How much do you get in the end zone? How many yards are you throwing for? Factoring in yards throwing for, despite Geno being number 1, I'm sliding him down the mountain. Takes a lot out of me as a Seahawks fan. But Geno Smith is only number 1 in yards because he's number 1 in attempts. I can say that confidently. He is not more efficient with the ball than Baker Mayfield or CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels. As a Seahawks fan, every game I watch, I'm waiting for the ball that Geno throws to the defense. It happens all the time. He's been lighting it up. He's been playing great this year. I don't think I'd put Geno in the top 10. So we have him at 11. So now that everyone's on here, I want to rearrange it a little bit. Anthony Richardson is not the worst quarterback in the league. I'm going to slide Deshaun Watson down there. Slide Huntley down. There. Okay. Mid, this honestly looks fine to me. Decent looks fine to me, but I do want to rearrange this. Now that I'm seeing this top 10, I don't necessarily like Kirk at 5. I think I'm riding too much on the fact that I think he'll get better from here on out, rather than just looking at the 5 games. So we're going to make some movements to this. Carr is not the 6th best quarterback in the league. He's top 10. Like, I don't... Nobody up here is moving down to decent. Baker... We're going to slide... I think Carr might be 10, honestly. I'm going to slide Murray below Daniels. I keep wanting to push Daniels up further, and I keep getting stuck on Kyler Murray. But I think Daniels is better than Murray. So we're going to slide Daniels up to 6. Honestly, we're going to bump Kirk down, put Daniels 5, and then put Stroud. Here we go. Put Stroud 6, Kirk 7, Baker 8, Kyler 9, Carr 10. Carr's coming off of his worst game of the season, and now he's hurt. Kyler Murray, electric. Baker Mayfield, electric. Kirk, Stroud, Daniels, all electric. I'm actually really happy with this now. This looks perfect to me. It took a little bit of maneuvering once I kind of saw the entire top 10 put together. I realized, like, Stroud, it looks way too low. Carr looks a bit high. Maybe even Kirk. But now, I think this is a perfect list. And I have no regrets. I could argue a case on anyone. You might nitpick, like, your favorite quarterback, say he should be up here, down here, whatever, that's fine. At least I have some justification or an argument as to why I put them there. I think this is perfect, and I'm fully backing this list. So here it is. Here's the finished list. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. Make sure, if you're not, like and subscribe. Turn that notification bell on so you know when the next video drops. And until then,